It's a pitch you won't hear from many Democrats who want to get elected to Congress. Stop demonizing Wall Street. Yet that's the message that is drawing attention to Democrat Reshma Saujani, a 34-year-old lawyer who aims to unseat Representative Carol Maloney in New York's 14th district this November. And she has some of the biggest names in finance behind her, including Morgan Stanley Chairman John Mack, Leon Black of the Apollo Group, and hedge fund manager Mark Lasry. Reshma is here with us this morning. Reshma, very glad you could join us here on the Inside Track. Let me ask you this question to start off with. You have said and you have written that you are not, quote unquote, pro-Wall Street. You're just pro-New York City. But what happens if you can't shake that label?
Look, as I've said, I'm not pro-Wall Street, I'm not anti-Wall Street, I'm pro-New York and pro-jobs. I've supported the financial services bill, and I've written publicly that I support it since 2009. I think that constituents in our district and voters understand, that we are, fighting for New York and fighting for jobs. Well, but I want to get back to the original question, which is why fight this idea that you're pro-Wall Street unless you think it's going to hurt your campaign somehow? I don't think we're not fighting the idea. We're setting the record straight. And I think that voters in my district are more concerned about the pervasive culture of special interest in Washington. And my opponent epitomizes that. There's no better example than, several weeks ago when she was the conferee on the Wall Street committee that was, negotiating the final bill. She held 2 PAC fundraisers inviting financial service lobbies, the ones that she was regulating, to attend. 8 House members have been investigated by the Ethics Committee for doing the same thing. That's what the people in my district care about. They care about the pervasiveness of special interest group. Wouldn't you acknowledge, though, that there's a risk that people will perceive you as being beholden to the same special interests because you have received some $800,000 in campaign contributions, from what I understand, much of which has come from leading figures in finance and their spouses. So maybe not a political action committee, but some of the same people whose firms contribute to political action committees. Come on, Eric. We know the difference between getting a campaign contribution from a corporate PAC whose sole purpose is to lobby the outcome of a bill and getting a contribution from an individual who lives in my district. 75% of the contributions that we've gotten, and we've gotten over 2,000 people contribute to this campaign, have not come from the financial services community or in any way affiliated with Wall Street. So, the spin on this is false. I'm not trying to put any spin on it whatsoever. I do want to address something that you wrote in February, though. After the House passed its version of the financial reform bill, you wrote, quote, Wall Street should help shape these measures and send them to President Obama's desk, correct? In the Huffington Post. The question I have for you is, why trust the same Wall Street that lobbied and succeeded in passing the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, right, that removed the Glass-Steagall provisions that many, such as Paul Volcker, now want reintroduced, and that lobbied so aggressively for many of the changes that ended up resulting in the Fannie and Freddie Mac that have turned the American housing market into a disaster? It is the same Wall Street with many of the same actors. Look, I take FDR's position on this. Together we can't fail. We need everybody sitting around the table, regulators, consumers, and people who worked on Wall Street, because we got to get this right, because this can't happen again. I'm the daughter of political refugees, and my father, came here with a shirt on his back, and he lost a significant amount of his 401k because of recklessness that happened both on Wall Street and in Congress. We're going to have to change things, and again, we need to have everybody sitting at the table. And right now, our city, our state, our nation, we're broke, and we need to have the private sector intimately involved in creating jobs here in New York. Small businesses, medium businesses. That's what we need to do. We have record unemployment rate in my district. Record unemployment rate. There's an intense amount of anxiety, and we got to get people working again. And I want to talk about 2 of my proposals to do this. One is creating a 21st century Job Corps. I believe that you can create 1.5 million jobs in retrofitting, solar panel installation, and broadband installation. We can create a middle class here in New York and help build our green economy. Secondly, I propose the creation of a national innovation bank, which would be a public-private partnership between the government and the private sector to create jobs in industries we can lead in, like biotech, clean tech, and nanotech. We got to start thinking bold and big. Reshma, when you boil it all down, why do you want to be a congresswoman? Because I believe that people can still make a difference, and that we need to have new leadership and new ideas. Washington is fundamentally broken, and the definition of insanity is sending the same people there over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So what would you do differently than what Representative Maloney is doing? The 3 things that, distinguish Congressman Maloney and me are threefold. One, Congressman Maloney is in the pocket of special interests. We haven't taken a dime. 2, we have record unemployment rate. She's the chair of the Joint Economic Committee, and she said that the stimulus is working. It's not working. And number 3, 25% of my district comes from Queens. Only 5% of the federal funding that she's secured has gone to Queens. That's wrong.
Reshma, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Reshma Saujani, running for Congress here in New York City.